Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. And today we're going to talk about reasons to love almond kefir. We talk about a lot of things on these shows, podcasts that I do. Everything from kefir to kombucha to cultured vegetables. But today we're going to talk about almonds. And for many reasons, there are so many wonderful ways to use almonds. But when you make almond kefir, it's quite an extraordinary thing. And I think you might be surprised on today's show about all the things that almonds can do. But I also have so many people that have been wanting to make almond kefir, but what they find is that when you use a nut milk, it presents a problem because most nut milks are made with water. So they get super watery and it separates and it doesn't look very good it doesn't taste very strong. It's more of a watery type of a kefir. Most people don't like that. However, I have several ways to change this and to help you make really good almond kefir. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that at the end of this podcast. So did you know that almonds protect against insulin and blood sugar problems? Researchers fed 15 healthy subjects 3 different types of meals. Meal 1 was almonds and bread. Meal 2 was parboiled rice and instant mashed potatoes. And meal 3 was different types of breads and nothing else. They took blood samples from each of the people who were in the study, and they did it after each meal and 4 hours after each meal because your blood sugar rises usually the highest after about an hour or so after a meal. But it also is good to test it after 4 hours to see where your insulin and your blood sugar is. The results showed an increase in protective antioxidants after the almond meal, but not after the other meals that did not contain almonds. There was also noted a lower rise in blood sugar and insulin in the meal that contained the almonds. So researchers shows that eating almonds along with a higher glycemic food such as bread will actually lower the glycemic index of the meal and lessen the rise in blood sugar after eating. But this isn't really the reason I love almonds. But here's another reason that almonds can be very protective of your heart. And almonds have an abundance of vitamin E. You get 37% of the recommended RDA in 1 ounce of almonds, which isn't very much. And vitamin E is very protective of the heart, and it can also reduce your chance of heart disease. In the British Journal of Nutrition, researchers looked at 4 very large study groups: the Adventist Health Study, the Iowa Women's Health Study, and a Nurses' Health Study, and the Physicians' Health Study. When evidence from all 4 studies were examined, they found that the subjects who consumed nuts at least 4 times a week showed a 37% reduced risk of coronary heart disease compared to those who seldom or never ate nuts. But then it got even better. Each time they had a serving of nuts during the week, it reduced the risk of coronary heart disease an additional 8.3%. And that is a pretty impressive study because vitamin E is very underrated as far as a vitamin. It's not talked about as much, but it is so essential for our hearts. And it's so good for us, and especially for women. It's important for women because it's good for their hormonal health. And if you have symptoms of perimenopause or menopause, you need to look at vitamin E in your diet if you're having hormonal problems, because it's really heart protective, but it's also great for women in their hormonal issues. And one of the great ways that I have seen people get vitamin E was eating almonds, and even things like most of the studies done on vitamin E were done with wheat germ oil. And they don't tell you that, they just tell you that it was vitamin E, but actually it was actually wheat germ oil that they did a lot of the studies with in the Heart Association, and a lot of the studies that say we need vitamin E were done with wheat germ oil. And so many times they'll isolate a vitamin, but they don't tell you where they got the vitamin from. And it's very abundant in almonds, but it's also abundant in other foods too. And I have found that almonds is one of the best ways to get your vitamin E. And it has so many, many benefits. And one of the other benefits that I find really, really interesting is this study that was done on people who gained less weight when they ate almonds. And most people will avoid nuts because they're afraid of gaining weight. But a study published in the Journal of Obesity in 2007 showed that people who ate nuts at least twice a week were much less likely to gain weight than those who never ate nuts at all. And this was a long study. It was 28 years with both men and women, and it involved 8,865 people in Spain. And what they found was the ones who ate nuts 2 times a week were 31% less likely to gain weight than those who never ate them. And I thought that was really interesting because that study went on for so long. That's a long time to do a study, 28 years. And it really has it significantly showed a correlation between the two things. One of the reasons I really love almonds is because almonds have been discovered to be prebiotics. And prebiotics are food for your bacteria that makes them grow strong and makes you have a mighty fortress inside of you. So whenever you can have a prebiotic, which we talk a lot about on these shows, it's going to help you every bit as much as the cultured foods is, because it's going to make those probiotics or the good bacteria in your gut grow and multiply, which is really, really important, because you can have probiotics, but if they don't grow and multiply and become strong, then they can't do their job. Substances in the almonds and also in their skins have been found to boost the good bifidobacteria and lactobacillus in your gut. And that is so important, guys. Those two particular strains of bacteria, especially bifido and lactobacillus, they do so much for us. We take it for granted because we don't understand it. We don't know what it is. But bifidobacteria is really important in infants. And they really need that strong bifidobacteria to allow them to come into the world and be healthy. And also lactobacillus is a huge strain with many different species inside of it that really have as an important part in creating health in our body. And we take it for granted because we don't understand it, but there's so many different components that bacteria does. And so if we can feed it the things that will help it grow and be strong and mighty, then we'll be strong and mighty. And they did a really interesting research. It was with 48 healthy volunteers, and they split these people up into 3 groups. The first group consumed a daily dose of roasted almonds, which was about 56 grams. And then the second group ate almonds, but they had the skins on them, and that was about 10 grams of almonds. And then the third group took a prebiotic supplement called fructooleosaccharide, or FOS for short, and it had about 8 grams as a positive control group. And that prebiotic called FOS is oh guys, it's so good. I have a product called Prebio Plus, and it's one of the ingredients in it. It's one of the strongest prebiotics on the market, and it's naturally found, I think, in the skins of fruits like orange peels and lemon peels. And it's so powerful, and it does so many wonderful things in your gut. But it also helps your cultured foods, like it helps your kefir stay creamy. It's a wonderful addition to your diet if you so choose. I love it. You can even put it in your. I put it in all kinds of stuff. I put it in my ketchup, and it doesn't have much of a taste, and nobody really knows it's there. But it does increase the good bacteria, and especially in your gut. And so you can put it in your coffee because it's not heat sensitive, or you can put it in your tea. You can put it, sprinkle it on salads, but it's a great way to get the good bacteria in your gut to grow and multiply. And I love it. And you can get it, it's naturally occurring in certain fruits and vegetables, but we have it in a form that makes it really easy for the body to assimilate. So after this study, let me go back over this. The first group consumed a daily dose of roasted almonds, and the second group ate almond skins, and the third group took a prebiotic supplement. So the subjects taking the almond skins and the subject that had the FOS, or the prebiotic supplement, had an immediate increase in good flora. And then at 6 weeks, the roasted almond subjects began to see that same increase. It just took longer. The almonds and the prebiotic FOS increased the bifidobacteria and the lactobacillus bacteria, but they did not increase the pathogens such as E. coli, and colostrum, they were significantly repressed, some more harmful pathogens. So here's the deal. So that means as the good bacteria grew and multiplied from the prebiotic and from the almonds, which were prebiotic, it pushed away the pathogens because it crowds them out. And the good bacteria dominates. And once bacteria has enough in numbers, it controls your whole inner world. And it gets rid of the harmful ones, makes them go out either out of the body or in the corner of your gut, and keeps them under control because they have enough in numbers in healthy, good bacteria that it changes the whole inner world of what's happening inside of you. So this means if you take almonds and you make them into kefir, you will increase not only the quantities of colony of a bacteria in your gut, but you'll also allow them to multiply and grow, becoming stronger and changing you from the inside out. And I love that. I love that there's so much going on in this world inside of us that we don't even know about. And if you've got 100 trillion bacteria inside of you, they're kind of busy doing stuff. And maybe you're not aware of it, but they're like, this is cool, guys. They like consume some of the cholesterol in your body. So they naturally lower cholesterol throughout your body when you have enough of good bacteria. And that's really important. Then you don't need those statin drugs because you have so much good bacteria. It's doing the job for you. It helps make vitamins. It helps boost your immune system. It alerts the immune system as to whether there's pathogens or invaders that are like a virus. It's just about the coolest thing ever. It does so many things. I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and I've written so many blogs about and articles about things that bacteria does that it's mind-boggling that the evidence and the research is just flying in the door. It helps with everything. I wrote something last week, an article about autism, and then one about how it helps you with cancer, and it's just so impressive what it can do. I encourage you to go listen to some of those podcasts because without good bacteria in your gut, you may not survive chemotherapy if you have cancer because your gut lining has to replenish itself, and it does that with bacteria. And depending on how much good bacteria you have will determine how well your gut is able to replenish itself. And I really encourage you just to, I'm the only crazy person that lays in bed at night and thinks of the names of the bacteria in my kefir. I just don't even know why I do that, but I just do because I love it. And but if I can just help you a little bit to just connect to that inner world inside of you that's hundreds of trillions of organisms that are helping you breathe, that are helping you do so many things in your daily life. And if you could just consciously, next time you go to the grocery store, if you could just pick out foods that they like, even if you just get a bag of almonds, even if you make almond kefir, which I'm going to teach you how to make, and you're going to love this. It's so good. It's so creamy. And it's thick like yogurt. But it took me a while. I just discovered this recently on how to make it. But even if you just do that one thing, you're gonna help your heart. You're gonna help your good bacteria to grow and multiply. It can help you with weight loss. This just does a bunch of things. And I love that we don't even know that it's going on. All we have to do is eat it. I think that's the coolest thing ever. And since almonds they're food for those 100 trillion microbe friends. And we need more good quality friends, right? In every regards. And like I was talking to you before about how it can help you lower your cholesterol by using it as a food source. And if you knew how important that was, nowadays they're just, people are taking statin drugs like candy because they don't know that their body actually has a way to help them lower their cholesterol and keep them healthy, protect their heart because of the vitamin E, and really make a huge difference in their daily life. Bacteria does something else that I love, and it reduces inflammation. And that also helps protect your heart by keeping endotoxins that can get into the bloodstream out of the body. And endotoxins are found in disease-causing bacteria, and that can weaken your gut lining. And when endotoxins are released into our body, our immune system sends out an alarm and it creates inflammation throughout the whole body. So you need to feed your bacteria lots of fiber-rich foods, which are prebiotics, and really help build up those healthy strains of bacteria. And you don't want them to starve to death in your gut because you're not feeding them. because then you wind up with a host of things like leaky gut and problems with all kinds of diseases in the gut and inflammation that just is wreaking havoc. And that's why fiber, remember when fiber was all the craze so many years ago? Well, fiber is an interesting thing. There's two types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. And the deal is we don't really do anything with the fiber. I mean, we don't get calories from it, but our bacteria eats it. And when our bacteria eats it, it grows and multiplies and keeps us healthy. And that's why fiber is so good for us, because our bacteria hungrily eat it up and grow and then keep us healthy in return. So, maybe it's not just the almonds. Maybe the almonds are feeding the bacteria along with the prebiotic foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Those are all prebiotic foods. Maybe all this time we thought it was fruits and vegetables keeping us healthy because everybody tells us, eat your fruits and vegetables. But maybe it was actually because the fruits and vegetables are feeding the good bacteria because they're prebiotics. And that is what is keeping us well. See, we are 99% microbial, more than cells in the body. That's what we are. That's what we're mostly made of. And these unseen microorganisms that we cannot see get very little credit. And they are doing a tremendous job inside of you. And I want you to pay attention to them. I want you to learn to feed them, take care of them, nourish them, because as soon as you do that, they take care of you. It's just a fact. And that's what I've learned for the last 15 years. If I keep them healthy, they keep me healthy. And that is really why I love almonds. I love almonds and I love almond kefir. But that's the reason why, because happiness is really having friends who feed you. And feeding my little micro friends has kept me happy for 15 years. So let's talk about how to make this almond kefir that I'm talking about. Now, I used to do, I still do this, but there's a recipe that I have on my blog, and this is a really good one. And a lot of people, when they make nut milks, they strain out the skins. Well, I leave the skins in because it makes for a really thick kefir. And I have those kind of recipes on my website. But I have found a new way that people have been telling me about. I've had a couple people write me emails, and then I think I had a couple posts on Facebook. They started telling me about this new type of nut milk that's being sold in stores. And it's made by silk, and it's got protein in it. And it's pea protein is what is in the milk. And it makes the thickest, most delicious almond kefir. It's like Greek yogurt. It's to die for. It is out of this world good. I've been having it for months and months now. I'm just in love with it. I love the texture. I love the taste. I love how easy it is. And it's the only way I've been making my nut kefir now. And there's two different kinds. There's one that has, it's actually made out of not just almonds, but it's got cashews in it too. So it's silk protein nut milk, and it's got almond and cashews. Now, don't go buy the regular silk nut milk because it won't work. I mean, you can use that to make kefir, but it will be thin and it will separate and it won't look very good. It won't be thick like Greek yogurt. So if you want to make the thick like Greek yogurt kind, you got to get the kind with protein in it, and that's pea protein. So it's a vegetable-based protein if you're concerned about that. And there's two kinds. There's one that has a vanilla flavoring and one that is just plain. And you can use either one of these to make your almond kefir. And the thing about non-dairy kefirs is that they don't have very many sugars in them. They're naturally just made out of nuts, and nuts are low in carbohydrates. And so the bacteria has to have something to eat. And for instance, in regular milk, it has the lactose, and there's like 14 carbohydrates in it. Well, in most nut milks, it's like 3 grams or less. So the bacteria doesn't have very much to eat. So you have to give it some kind of food source, some source of sugar or something in it so that the bacteria can grow, multiply, and make probiotics from it. You don't get the sugar. The bacteria does and turns it into probiotics. Well, with these two nut milk that you can buy through silk that have protein in them, you don't have to add anything because it has enough of its own natural sugars in it that it will just make it again and again. And here's how you do it. You buy a carton of this nut milk with the protein. Make sure you get the one with the protein because you won't get thick kefir if you don't. You put it in a quart jar. You put 4 cups in a glass quart jar. And then you get a package of my Easy Kefir, and you put that in the milk. You stir it up a little bit, and you put a lid on it. And oh my goodness, it only takes 24 hours. It just depends on how cold your home is. But between 18 and 24 hours, you're going to get thick almond kefir. It is delicious. I'm telling you, it's out of this world good. And here's the cool thing. My Easy Kefir, which is just a powder package that's got a culture in it, if you use that, so you have a whole jar, so you've made a whole jar, 4 cups of kefir, right? Of almond kefir. You take 1/4 cup of that kefir that you just made, put it into another jar, add 4 more cups of milk to it, and stir it up, and you're going to I don't even stir it up, guys. I just put the kefir that was made into another jar, put a lid on it, and let it sit for another 24 hours. And then you can take some from that jar and make another jar and keep it going. And as long as you do it regularly, you can keep that going for a very long time. And all those instructions are on my website at culturedfoodlife.com. And just, you can put in the search bar almond kefir or nut kefir, and all these recipes will come up. And I think I even have a blog right on the front page that says, the nut milk kefir that looks and tastes like thick yogurt. That's the article if you want to read more about it. But I have like 16 different non-dairy kefirs, but this one is the best one of them all because it's just thick like Greek yogurt. It's awesome. Now, some people will want to do this with milk kefir grains. There's 2 ways to make kefir. One's with culture packages, which are freeze-dried kefir grains into a powder form, or live kefir grains. The only thing about this gets so thick that if you use regular kefir grains to make it, you lose your kefir grains in the thickness. And it's really hard to separate out. You can do it that way, but it works better to use the Easy Kefir packages. That's what I do because I don't want to go digging for my kefir grains because then you lose the thickness anyway because you've got to stir it and strain it, and so the thickness goes away. It's still thicker than regular almond milk kefir, but it's more of a pain and you tend to lose your grains in it. But anyway, I love for you to try it. So many people write me and tell me how much they love it. It has a unique flavor too. I'm crazy for this stuff, and I've been using it in a ton of recipes. I have a new ebook out for Christmas. We got 36 recipes in it, and almost every recipe I made with this almond kefir because I'm just in love with it. It's so good, and has a wonderful flavor to it too that really tastes good. The interesting thing about it, though, is the first batch doesn't get super tart because there's enough sugar in the milk itself that it keeps it a little tiny tad tart, but not super tart like regular kefir. And so the next batch gets much, much tartar. And that's due to some of the extra sugar that's in the nut milk itself. So the more you culture it, the more sour and tart it'll get, but it still tastes really, really good. I think you'd really like it. And it's kind of my new thing. We just put this on not too long ago. So it's kind of a new thing. But I love the texture of it. It's fantastic. So if you're looking for a non-dairy version of almond kefir, and if you're looking for more benefits and health benefits, and you get so many benefits from kefir, whether it's non-dairy or dairy, it doesn't matter. The benefits are so many, guys. They help you so much, and it's delicious. It's just food. It's not drugs with side effects. It's just food, and it's terrific. And it does have a wonderful effect on the body. Helps you eat some of the cholesterol that's naturally in your bloodstream, and it's going to lower it, and it's going to protect your heart and maybe keep you from gaining some weight and just a host of other things. I love kefir. I love kefir for all the things that it does for me. And I absolutely love sharing that with you. I hope you enjoy listening to it because it's my passion, guys. Because it made me well. And it made me change my whole life. And I never thought that the sickness and disease that came upon me would turn around and bless me. So I'm thrilled to be here sharing with you all the different ways that you can make delicious cultured probiotic foods in your own home. And I'm constantly thinking about you, trying to find new recipes. And this is the latest, greatest for the non-dairy versions. And I love it. And I hope you will too. You guys have a good week. And I hope you check out and make some kefir.